You hear these crazy stories about people surviving a lightning strike. It's pretty incredible, right? But what if I told you about a guy who took that idea to a whole other level?
7. Just look at that number for a second. What do you think it means?
Yeah, that's how many times one single man was struck by lightning and lived to tell the tale. 7 separate times. And no, this isn't some urban legend. It's a documented Guinness World Record fact, which of course raises the big question, how is that even possible?
To even begin to get our heads around this, we have to start with the man himself. Meet Roy Sullivan, a park ranger who earned the nickname the Human Lightning Rod for some pretty obvious and unbelievable reasons.
Just look at this timeline. This wasn't one bad day. This was a 35-year saga. It starts all the way back in 1942 in a fire tower. He loses a toenail. Okay, weird. But then it just keeps happening. He gets knocked unconscious in his truck, eyebrows totally singed off. He gets hit in his own front yard. His hair is literally set on fire. At one point, he swore a storm cloud was actively chasing his truck to get him. And the craziest part, every single time, he somehow walked away.
But this had a real human cost. Listen to this quote from Roy himself. He said he was just walking with his boss when lightning struck way off in the distance, and the chief just said, "I'll see you later," and took off. Can you imagine that? People were genuinely afraid to be near him. For Roy, it wasn't just about surviving the lightning. It was about dealing with the profound loneliness that came with it. So, we have this unbelievable story. But it all comes back to that one question. How is this scientifically possible? To figure that out, we need to dig into the raw physics of what a lightning bolt actually is.
So let's just appreciate the sheer power we're dealing with. A single bolt of lightning can carry up to 300 million volts.
It heats the air around it to 60,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That is literally hotter than the surface of the sun.
And it delivers all of that insane energy in about 1,000th of a second. And that incredible speed, well, that's the secret to everything. Given those numbers, survival should be impossible. So what's the trick? How can a human body possibly withstand that kind of assault? The answer has a name. It's a phenomenon called flashover. Because the strike is so unbelievably fast, the electricity wants the quickest path to the ground. And if you're wet from the rain, your skin is actually a better conductor than your internal organs. So the electricity travels over the surface of your skin instead of through it, bypassing your heart, your brain, and all that other important stuff. It's like the lightning wraps you in a temporary electrical cage.
And because of flashover, the survival rate for a lightning strike is, and this is going to sound crazy, astonishingly high. About 90% of people who get struck by lightning actually survive. The challenge isn't just surviving the moment, it's living with what comes next.
Because even when flashover saves your life, a lightning strike leaves its mark, both in ways you can see and in ways you can't.
Check these out. These incredible, almost beautiful tree-like patterns are called Lichtenberg figures. They're basically the lightning's autograph. It's what happens when the massive electrical charge bursts the tiny blood vessels right under the skin. It's this terrifying but kind of gorgeous proof that the electricity passed right over you.
But the most severe damage is often the stuff you can't see. The jolt can cause immediate cardiac arrest, seizures, and hearing loss. And long-term, survivors often deal with neurological damage, memory loss, and even major personality changes. Surviving is just the first step in a very long fight.
Now, understanding the science here is critical because it helps us bust some very common and frankly very dangerous myths about lightning safety.
All right, let's play a little game. Myth or fact? You're safe inside a car during a thunderstorm because of the rubber tires. What do you think?
That is a huge myth. Think about it. Lightning just tore through miles of air, which is a fantastic insulator. A few inches of rubber aren't going to do a thing. The real reason you're safe is the car's metal frame. It acts as a Faraday cage, which means it directs the electricity around the outside of you and safely into the ground. In fact, the time Roy Sullivan got hit in his truck was because his window was open.
Okay, round 2. What about this? If you're caught outside, your rubber-soled shoes will protect you. Myth or fact?
Another dangerous myth. Just like the tires, that little half-inch of rubber on your shoes is completely useless against the millions of volts in a lightning bolt. It offers you pretty much zero protection.
So what should you actually do? Simple. The best thing is to get inside a real building or a hard-topped car. If you are stuck outside, get away from tall, isolated objects, especially a lone tree. And whatever you do, do not lie flat on the ground. That increases your contact. Instead, crouch down, make yourself as small a target as possible with your feet together.
And all of this brings us back, full circle, to Roy Sullivan. His story is the ultimate testament to both the fragility and the incredible resilience of the human body.
But Roy's story has a tragic ending. The physical toll, the psychological trauma, and that social isolation we talked about, it all weighed on him. He ultimately died by suicide, a sad end for a man who survived one of nature's most powerful forces over and over again.
So we're left with this massive paradox. To be targeted by lightning 7 times is impossibly unlucky, but to survive it 7 times, that seems impossibly lucky. So was Roy Sullivan the unluckiest man in the world, or was he the luckiest? It's something to think about.